Good afternoon, everybody. Today is day 239. It is October 1st, 2023, and it is 1:43 p.m. in the afternoon Mountain Time. Okay, so let's see what we got going on with the treadmill today. And you guys, can you believe it? It is the 1st of October already. You guys, we're coming up on 2024, and I'm going to be honest with you, I honestly can't believe it. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was younger and in my early teens, I used to think of, depending on what happens, I might still be alive in, let's say, 50 or 2060, or I said, okay, well, let's go down to a lower number, like 2030 or 2035, and yes, it's only going to be 2024, but honestly, when 2024 comes in a couple of months, it'll be 6 years, and we will be at 2030. I mean, it's so crazy. It's such, to me at least, personally, it's such a futuristic year. I don't know how futuristic it's going to be. I think as I get older, I'm starting to see that some of the stuff I thought that would exist with our technology doesn't, or it's not mainstream, some of it I'm kind of aware of. A couple things I saw when I was younger, and if it weren't for one of my siblings seeing the same thing, I would have thought that I was seeing things, right? And so I had that awareness early on, like, okay, there's a couple inventions that are out there, that do exist. It's just, I guess by a certain time I thought that a lot of people would have them, right? It was just the way it seemed to be going. And then I always talk to you guys about, the Jetsons, the different cartoons we had and stuff like that. I never mentioned certain movies, but there's some movies that you look at and you're like, oh wow, I could totally see that happening because they already kind of have the technology for it, or they're very close, so I don't know, but as I get older, I'm seeing that it's not as futuristic as I thought it was going to be. So far as like, flying cars and stuff like that, where a lot of people have them, and then some of those movies they show like, you're up in the air and you're wondering where did the ground go, and some of them you're up in the air, there's the ground, and then there's the they live on another planet type thing. I didn't really think it was going to be that far ahead, but I mean, flying cars, I don't know, I just thought, I never really thought, I think being younger, like where will all the other cars go? That, and if they would have to have some type of wheels or something to land, obviously, but I don't know, when you're younger, you're like in your teens, you're, let's say, like early 20s or something like that, if your mind is still kind of there sometimes, almost kind of like you're daydreaming somewhat, you never think where your ideas and thoughts go, right? I guess, obviously, you just kind of grow up, and then you base it off of what you start to see. You're like, oh wow, I didn't think we would have something that could do that, and then something else you thought that would exist either does or it doesn't yet, right? So I don't know how to explain, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. In some ways we are as futuristic as I thought we would be, and in some ways we're not. So yeah, well, I have some good news to share, but you guys know I first need to get the treadmill up to some type of speed, right? We're 3 minutes in, first 8 to 10 minutes, nothing really surprising that goes on. It either works or it doesn't. So I'm going to keep turning the little knob thing. I really wish now that I had the arrows for up and down for the speed. Turning this little knob is like unnecessary, not anxiety, but just kind of a cautiousness, that I really don't like. But let's see what it gets to, and then I'll finish the rest of our talk. Okay, so we're 4 minutes. We don't have any more credits. We use them, I think. If we do have credits, then we might have like 2 minutes. Okay, so maybe at about 38 minutes, maybe I'll stop it, or maybe I'll just keep it going, depends. Especially seeing as how I didn't write anything, but let's get this thing moving a little faster. This time I remembered my towel. Remember yesterday, so much stuff happened that by the time we got the treadmill to working, Not only did I not leave any part of that footage, I just started the video completely over, but I also had forgot my towel in the house. And so I ended up having to use my shirt. And so, yeah, yesterday morning was just kind of a little off. Okay, so we're at 1.3, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay, let's see. And I'm debating. You know what? I don't want to, you guys know what I meant. I don't want to do this later. Let me see something. Okay, so I got it to work. I still haven't plugged it up, but I don't think there's a need to. I don't use it that often. Okay, so 1.4, 5 minutes and 22 seconds. 1.5. Okay, 1.6. 1.7. Moment of truth, you guys. 1.8. 6 minutes in. Okay, 1.9. One more. Two. All right. This is where we need to be. We haven't been able to be at 2 for a while. I think we reached 2 yesterday once my husband oiled the treadmill. So let's see if the fact that he oiled it yesterday continues to help for today. Okay, so first things first, I weighed myself. I'm at 156.3. I'm excited. So I'm 6.3 pounds away from my goal. I don't know, a little bit more excited about that than I should be, but we'll see. I think now, at this point, my thought process is to just keep going, just keep walking. If I can keep the incline and let this thing get up to whatever speed it can get up to. If it can get up to 2, great. If it can't, then I used to walk at speed 4 in the other treadmill. So I guess those days are kind of making up for this somewhat. Like I said before, 4 on this treadmill was a lot faster than on the other one. Okay, I can tell you that. That is jogging speed. I don't care if it was flat and not inclined at all. I'd have to, put some more pep in my step. And this is called a walk and talk, right? Not a jog and talk. Okay, so, yes. But I am happy about that. So, yay. We're at 8 minutes. Okay, so I didn't really write anything for a topic. I just knew that I couldn't keep waiting to get out here. I had a vanilla Coke, guys, yesterday. My husband had never tried it, and I think it gave me a headache. I wonder if it's just, that was like too much sugar. I don't know. You know, I have a Coke every now and then. Most of the time, I stick on it to take with a migraine pill or with Excedrin, which I did have to take yesterday, but it was after the vanilla Coke, or I should say during. Other than that, I haven't really had to take them often. So I'm to a point to where the Excedrin intake, like I said, my allergy medicine intake is very little, like close to none. So I am happy about that. I guess due to a number of things, walking, maybe just the fruits I'm eating, drinking more water, more than what I used to, right? Not as much as I wanted to be, but gradually at times, because you only drink so much water, right? Then it doesn't want to stay down. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And the topic I was thinking of for today. I steered away from it the day before yesterday. And then yesterday, recap. Okay. Oops, usually I try to recap within the first 2-3 minutes of the video. Okay, so yesterday's video was, half of it was about what do you do with your Samsung phone if it sets a password and locks you out. And all you can do is receive phone calls, make emergency phone calls. You can't turn your phone off. If your button is set to double tap the power button to take a picture, you can't even do that. And so I talked to you guys about smart things find. And so on yesterday's video, I haven't edited the description box yet. And I know in the description box I said that I wasn't going to put those links there because I don't know if you click on them if it would take you to my account or just to the website itself. I'm not quite sure if there would be a way to take the hyperlink off. I mean, if you're typing something in a Word document and anything, you type your email or web address, it'll link and turn blue, right? But you can highlight it, you can right click it, and you can choose to remove link. And then it'll take off the fact that if someone clicks on it, it will just go to whatever link it is. But I don't think you can do that in the description box for a YouTube video. So what I did instead was, not only did I say that I wasn't going to put it in my description box, I told you guys it was going to be edited into my video, and it is. Okay, so both websites lead to that. But I'm thinking that maybe there might be a way for me to put those web addresses in the description box. Maybe I'll put a space in between some stuff and then just put in parentheses that there are no spaces in the web address. So I've been thinking about that. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure still. I know I was saying that I was going to do it, but I have to figure out how to do that. Okay, so yeah, I'm just as careful with my personal information as I am with you guys, right? Even like if I tell a story, unless the person said I can say their name, I leave their names out, things like that. Okay, so I try to respect people's privacy, including myself. So yeah, well, we're 12 minutes and 20 seconds, but the other half of the video was about a TV. Well, actually, no, it was a gaming screen that I saw, and I wasn't sure if it could double as a TV. I believe it can, I don't know. And so I was thinking that I wanted to put the complete title of that TV and put the link to get to it to Samsung. But what I would have to do is make sure I'm not logged in and then just go search for the TV and then provide the link for you guys so you guys can go check it out. It's pretty cool. I especially like the fact that it could rotate, and it's called some type of mode when you rotate it. It's no longer horizontal, it rotates vertical. I think it was like pilot mode or something like that. And then once it's rotated vertical, it kind of tilts back. So I was telling you guys about that yesterday. So if you want to know more about it, pricing for a specific model, then watch yesterday's video, and I talk a lot about that. Like the whole half of the video, the second half is about that. Okay, so the topic I avoided the other day was my idea of a perfect world. And so I thought about it, and the reason why I steered away from it was because I know my idea of a perfect world may not be the same as everyone else's. I did search it on YouTube to see what other people had to say, and I watched a piece of one video. It was pretty much what I said, and so I was like, well, if it's already been said, then I have to look for something else. And thinking about it today, it was just like, the other thought I had that day was that it's just my opinion, right? I baseline it, you know, peace, love, no chaos, stuff like that, no war, things like that, and just being able to get along Or at least being able to leave each other alone if we couldn't, right? Not everyone's going to agree with what you have to say and your ideas and things like that. But in my idea of a perfect world, it wouldn't lead to like arguing, fighting, hurting each other, things like that. So, I don't know, that I could say is the basis to it. I did say that there would be unicorns. I was like, it's just a horse with one horn, right? It may or may not have wings. Okay, that part's gonna make me sound crazy, but yeah, may or may not, right? And then I thought about like the bugs. I thought about the bees, and for all of us who are allergic to bee stings, I was like the flowers would pollinate themselves, different things like that, right? Just, I don't know, kind of laughed about it, and I thought, it sounds kind of peaceful. There really wouldn't be any at all, no wasps, no nothing. We'd be able to plant our food, not have to worry about the bugs, be healthy, rinse it off, be able to cook it, eat it, freeze it, whatever we want to do to it, so different things like that. I was watching something on Nikola Tesla, and it was stating about his idea of like free, like Wi-Fi or energy out, kind of like the thought of electricity for the world. And I thought, interesting thought, and a slight attempt I think he made, right? I don't remember too much. I didn't learn about him. Anything I learned about him was kind of just stuff I saw on some YouTube videos. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, concretely for sure what I learned was the absolute truth or whatever. But I thought the concept of how like nothing was shut down, and like I said, the flying vehicles, right? And they'd be able to have constant power and stuff like that. And I thought, that is a nice thought. If you're in an airplane, obviously, if you're like me, I mean, and even if you're not like me, the person that thinks of all these things, and then I know that a lot of stuff is out of my control. Like when I get in an airplane, I'm afraid of heights, and I'm like, why did I do that to myself? And all I keep thinking is, please land where we're going. And then when we leave, please have that happen again. It's not just because I'm on the plane. I look at everybody. I look at the women and children. I look at the kids, the men. I look at everybody. And especially the kids, the babies. And I'm thinking, I've lived. I personally just feel that way for myself. I won't say 41 years is enough, or in that case, my thought process was enough, but it's longer than what they had. So I kind of always just, whatever words you want to use, like I said, I try to stay away from controversial things. So many words you can't say, people just like, right now, like, I love you guys with me some, right? I tell you guys that all the time. I'm not going to argue back. So yeah, but I just think about they're so young, haven't had a chance to do anything, right? And they're so little. So I'm like, what life could they have had if this had not happened? So I look at everybody on the planet, I do. Everyone's safety is important to me. But I look at them and I think they should have a life. Like they're going to do great things. I don't know them and their family, what the kid's going to become, but I always say they're not just our future, they're their future. Right? We're kind of, if you're my age, you're pretty much taking care of yourself now. And so there's always a talk of, oh, well, what happened to your parents? Are you going to end up having to take care of them? Are they going to end up in a home? Things like that, right? Within families. Probably conversations you might have with your parents, things like that. Depending on your relationship with them, if you're close with them at all. So I just thought they haven't had a chance to live. That's just the way I look at it. And so I'm like, please, for them, let us get where we're going safely, there and back. And it's, like I said, in addition to us, everyone that's on the plane, so especially for them. So it's so crazy. I look at them sometimes and I'll picture them a little bit older. There was one little girl, I pictured her as a ballerina. And I don't know. She can end up being a doctor or whatever, you know, right? But it was really distinctive though. Her hair was up in a bun. Her hair was like this pretty brown. And I pictured the whole ballerina outfit, everything. And I don't know where she was performing, but I just kind of saw her on the stage. And so I was like, wow. Or I'll hear like a little kid talking about how much they like dinosaurs and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, you know a lot. And could end up being a paleontologist or could end up being something else, right? So, plus, I've worked with little kids, I would say the majority of my life, right? It's not just me being an older sibling. At some point, I'm around them a lot, just kids in general. So, I have that heart, that soft spot for them. And just thinking like, oh my gosh, I remember when you couldn't, you know, walk, you're still crawling, and now you're singing and dancing, you know? Even with my own siblings, they know, I've told them before, like, stop growing, right? Stop growing up. It's just, I know it's not gonna stop, we're gonna keep aging, but they're all grown up, all of them, and I'm just like, wow. I try not to go too deep into that, but you guys know for those of my siblings that are left. So, I do say that with I won't say heavy heart, but obviously it's a sadness. Okay, I miss them. So, and unfortunately it's a plural thing, so yeah. But just love the ones that are still here, right? And they know that, okay? Hopefully they won't ever forget that, ever, because I mean it. You know when someone says it when they mean it, it shows. It may not be exactly how you want it, and I'm just meaning in general, right? But a lot of the times the actions, not just the words, will speak for themselves. So I hope they don't just hear me say it. At some point in their lives, I hope I've done something so they feel it. They know it. That's not something that they doubt. They are important to me. So yeah, my family and everything. But I've talked about it before. My siblings, to me, in a way, kind of like my kids as well, kind of, sort of, at different times. And that protectiveness, or that word I heard on Hitch, the movie, remember Hitch was so funny. That one scene where they're sitting on the couch in her apartment, right? And so he tells her that she has, what's that word he used? Is it innate? Whatever word he used, protectiveness, that he could hear in her voice. Well, one sibling voices that they're aware of that, not using that word, but aware. It's like an over type protectiveness thing, but whether I say something or not, whether I have a look in my face, by the time the look is on my face, I can't hide it. Whether it shows or not, I believe at this point they all know that it's there. And depending on what happens, there's probably another level or two that can come out, I think, where I would even scare myself. So I'm not confrontational. I don't like to fight, argue, none of that stuff. But, you know, defense mode comes out. And I can see myself defending them possibly more than I would defend myself if it physically came down to having to do that. So I've always told them I love them more than me. So honest, I'm being completely honest. I'm being a little vulnerable right now out here, but I'm being honest. I'm trying to learn to love myself, not more than them, but more than I love me, because that love has always kind of been on the back burner. I know it's been by choice. I don't think I really realized it at first. I think it was more of a subconscious thing, and now that I'm consciously aware, you just have to take care of yourself as well. And one of my motivational messages I gave before was to take care of yourself the way you would take care of everyone else. If you're that caring, whatever way it may be. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's verbal. Sometimes, and verbal hopefully helps to be emotional. But just give it to yourself. if you can put that type of love out there into the world, you deserve it just as much as anyone else. And sometimes it comes from you. I know that there's a saying that say, well, you can't love someone until you love yourself. And there's some truth to that. But the other part of it, that I won't say it's not true, the other part of it where there's like two sides to everything, actually you can. You can get caught up in and lost in that. And if you're like me, once you're at that point, it's needed, whether they feel that it's needed or not. So that's just my personal opinion about that, about just loving your family, your siblings, and stuff like that. I guess I'm specifically talking about my siblings now. So yeah, just always kind of how I love everybody individually, I love everybody as a whole, but if we were staying on topic of just my siblings for a second, that's where I've always been. So I'm just trying to learn to bring that in to me, to center that. And then there'll just be more of it to push back out. So yeah, it's almost like when you realize that you kind of just, if you've been going and going and going and going, right? So many things happening throughout their lives and your lives, right? And then for me, I personally took a step back, looked at everything, and then I added a couple other people into it. And then I put out the message, I'm always there. Even if we don't talk a lot, obviously we live in the same city or state now, so we don't see each other a lot, but I am always there. Yeah, there's a phone as well, but I mean, for me personally, I don't know how to explain that. I hope they feel somewhat of a physical presence of that. Maybe not necessarily of me, but of my feelings that are there. So if they ever feel like a distance in that way, that helps them, right? So yeah, I don't really know how else to explain it. Hopefully I explained it enough. And I feel like if I try and explain it more, it just get more complicated to explain. It's very simple. I love them. So yeah, that's important. But you have to take care of yourself. You hear it a lot, but when you see it and you feel it, and then you start to do it, for me personally, you know, there's a feeling of a selfishness. Selfishness is not always a bad thing, but I'm talking about the selfishness that is kind of bad. But I had to learn that it's not a bad thing if you're not doing it in a bad way, right? And the rest are going to see it as bad anyway. So the I people, me, I, right? And that's just honest truth. So I guess you can say that's part of my message, and I put it out there every now and then, because I just tell you don't forget about yourself. And believe me, at times you will find that you have that energy where it's enough. It's enough what you've already put out. If you're still like that, still kind of like super involved in stuff, or whether you're not, because they're grown too, right? If at some point your little siblings, I say little kiddos, right? They're not kids, they're siblings, but it feels like that sometimes. But they're all grown up and they're like, oh, okay, they're gonna be okay, you know. So you try and step back just for that reason as well. So yeah, that was something I expected to really talk about today, but it kind of came up. So yes, I guess you can consider that a continuation of that specific message. But like I said, before I forget completely where I was going with that, so I came up with a new thought, which is what I just started on, which is you find out that you end up being enough. Like your strength is there for whatever strength you try to have for them and for yourself. Sometimes you'll hit a moment where it's like it's tiring, right? And that's just how you feel about, like, anyone, really, depending on what the situation is. Maybe they're doing something they've been doing for a long time. It's a really bad thing. It hurts them. It hurts you to see them hurt themselves or go through it. And you're like, I just hope they get better. Whatever, it could be a habit of whatever it is. Like a repeated, how do you say that? Action that they do, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be if it's drugs or alcohol, or it could even be overeating or something like that. It could be the type of people that they are friends with or that they date, or it could be a number of things. I don't know, maybe they steal, I don't know. You know, it all depends on what it is. So anything where you can see it's a repeated action and it keeps them kind of in a rut. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, for anyone that I care about, I just want to see them do, you know, better than me, and to progress and just, you know, if I have something for them to have it, I say 10 times over. So, because it helps. It could be anything. It could be a car too. It could be, you know, by this time if they want to buy a house, it could be whatever it is. A job that sustains them, where there's not need for 2 or 3. Maybe along the way that happened, but now it's down to 1. Less stress, basically. So yeah. And the other part of, I don't know about you guys, but kind of wants to, like, all right there. I don't even know what words to use. I won't say it's the same level, but you look around and no matter where you look, you see good and greatness. Things can always be better or get better, right? And if you're like me, the way you feel about the people you care about, you just want to see that continue to progress. And at some point, let's say for a little while, they don't go up, they don't go down. They're stable, right? So how I see the life lessons I've been learning myself, trying to have that stability, that balance. Of course, like every other good thing that I hope that they have, or that they feel, or that they think, or that they experience, that's added in. Stability and balance is really important. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and sometimes it's that stepping stone, it's that foundation that you end up standing on, and that you build from that. So I've been learning personally to try not to let too many things like knock myself, and now I'm married, you know, my husband, like, off balance. Yeah, I mean, being married, you have someone else there, significant other, whoever, wherever you guys are in your life. Some people never get married. They're together for a long time, right? So we'll just say if you're together, and however your relationship is, however you define it, however it goes, your business, not mine. I'm just saying. But you do have someone that will help pick you up, like, when you fall. But on the other hand, you're trying not to do that, right? You're trying to stay stable. So a balance. I've learned over the years, because I've always said you're still an individual. You still have yourself in a relationship. And so if you become, personally from what I've learned in a personal experience, too unstable, that shakes their foundation. It affects them, especially if you guys live together. So now it's how to stay balanced, how to stay stable, mentally, emotionally, physically, and how to honestly not knock him off his ability. And I'm sure honestly, if he ever felt that way, then we may not still be together, I mean, honestly. So, some people are able to do that. And in my case, personally, if he had a good point, then, and that's what happened, that's what happens, right? It's not that I don't care, but you have to take care of yourself. That goes back to having to take care of yourself. And not every time when someone can call you selfish, it's a bad thing. It's only in their eyes. But if it's in a good way, and you're nurturing yourself, caring and living for yourself as well, then you can be, but I say personally for myself, I couldn't be mad. I shouldn't be. And maybe that'll make me where I couldn't be. Now I'm not saying, oh, me and my husband are going to split up. No, I'm just saying that I would have to say on my personal level or just across the board, you know, that's how I think I would be looking at things, even if I wasn't married and in a relationship. I think I've gotten old enough to realize that. I've always had that saying where if you're going to do like all these things that are wrong or not try really hard or whatever the case may be, right? Whatever words we would use for it, I don't want to say lazy, but whatever words fall in that category, then do it to yourself and not someone else. Have your own key, walk into your own home, and that way no one else you live with is affected by it. So, I have learned if I see myself personally going down that path way before I got married, everyone knows not the first time I've been married, it's the second time, right? But way before this marriage, I was already in the realization of that if I ever get like that, for whatever reason, especially if I get to the point where I'm like, oh, screw it, and I just give up, period on life, period, right? I'm not going to do anything to myself, but I just kind of don't care. Then I've always told myself, then I need to keep my distance. And then that's not just with the significant other, that would be with family and friends as well. So, if I think I can pull myself out of that slump or whatever, then they may not hear from me, phone call, text, or Facebook, and if I can pull out of it, I can. It never really occurred to me that I wouldn't be able to if that happened. This treadmill is not safe. It's like, I talk about how skinny this thing is, you guys, but you have like, I'm telling you, take a tape measure. Okay, when you finish watching this video, and pull it out to 16 inches, and that's about how wide this thing is. So, yeah, I need like 20, 25, something like that inches, right? That might be a goal later on, a wider treadmill. I talk about it, but I'm talking about actual goal to where you actually physically see it sitting here, or in the house, or wherever it's going to be at, right? Because one day I'm not going to catch my balance, and down I go, right? I do not want, if I'm going to be hurt enough to go to the hospital bill from now, my gosh, would be outrageous. So yeah, I'd be a little bit more careful when I'm walking in this thing. I usually do a foot check, and I think this thing annoys me so much in different ways that I'm just like, get up here, walk, and don't even worry. But I do need to watch where I'm stepping sometimes, so I need to start doing my little feet check like I used to early on in the walk. But yeah, so didn't really expect for that to be my kind of main topic today, but I guess it just ended up being. Sometimes I come out here and I just tell myself, just talk to him, and whatever topics come to mind. My main thing is trying to keep them clean, trying to watch my language, try to make sure they're not, like I said, I always mention a controversial thing, but I read like their policies. They're serious. So that, and like I said, I'm not going to argue with anybody. I know we have the ability to delete people's comments, but I wouldn't even bother. So I've been lucky enough to not really have any on these talks, unless it's like friends and family. So I'm actually happy about that. So, because if nothing else, at some point, you did end up reading them. Because you get all types of notifications. You get notifications when you go to your YouTube app, You get notifications, I think, when you go to YouTube Studio app. If you're on the computer or your laptop and you're on your studio thing, or you go into like your channel, there it is up there. It notifies you on there as well with however many updates or notifications you have. You know, that bell lights up red. So yeah, you can keep from clicking on it, but what if it's someone asking a question and you were showing them how to do something, right? So you click on it and then you see everything, and you end up reading it regardless of whether you were going to or not. So I don't do it to other people, so I always ask for it not to be done to me. Yes, this is supposed to be as positive as it can be. And like I said it the other day, I'll say it again, you're always going to end up offending somebody, making someone upset. Whether they have a good reason or not is a whole other question. And I'm too old to be caring about that and dealing with all of it. Can't have an argument if you don't start it. Right? So the way I see it is other people say, well, you said, well, you gave your opinion based off what I said. And sometimes you just kind of feel like if you didn't direct it towards a certain set of people or a specific person, right, then still, if that person gets upset enough, they're going to say something. So I've been happy that that has not happened, and I'm not feeding into it. Please don't try it. Like I said, I had a club, I'll tell you real quick. I was in my mid-20s that I told my friends, right, that I was going to start. And it wasn't like we're going to start having meetings, almost like a book club or whatever, but it was more of a even mental and emotional type club as well. And it was called I'm Too Old for This SHIT, right? And I was like, if you want to join, and me and my friends would laugh. Part of it was kind of somewhat serious. I'm saying we'd go out and eat once a week or whatever, or have a kick a day at one of our places or whatever. Because like I said, I did mean mentally and emotionally as well. And it's so crazy. At 26, 27, I was already feeling like that. And I don't think it ever left. I think, like I said, I'm older, so I'm more laid back in other ways. And I just have less level or patience for tolerance. Like, nonsense. Less tolerance for nonsense. That's what I meant to say it. So, now I just try to stay away from that. So yeah, I full circled back into actually verbally putting it out there, right? There's my little club, so to speak. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one in it. Certain things just kind of get you in it, whether you put yourself in it or not, right? But it's a good thing. You have to protect yourself. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. And within that, you'll find other people that are at that point in their lives. And remember what I said the other day? What did I say the other day? It's actually on the thumbnail. All I want is peace. And I said, peace of mind, peace and quiet, right? So that is mentally and emotionally where I'm at and where I'm trying to be. So yeah, we're 3 minutes over. It will count for tomorrow. That's why I kept talking. Don't worry, I'm fully aware we're past. Okay, so we're at 43 minutes and 18 seconds. 1.34 for distance, 143 calories. Let's see what happens. Will it stop? Okay. And the answer is yes. I think the only thing it has yet to do is to slow down, but not slow down all the way to where it stops. Or let's say decline, but not decline all the way. Like I said, with this thing, I would not be surprised if it starts to do that. Because as I saw yesterday, it was back to where if it was going to stop, it actually surprised me because I don't think it's done that in a while. I think it was like one other time. That's why I didn't remember that it had already done that before. It actually just gradually slowed down, gradually declined, and then stopped. Like it didn't let me go past, I think I told you guys 1.8. I might be in that part of the video that actually raced. I think I said, I believe that was yesterday. So yeah, which was a lot better than it just stopping abruptly, right? And then me trying to catch my balance. So hopefully, if it's going to continue to do that, it will start doing this gradual slowdown and the gradual decline, and not the all of a sudden stop thing. If it's going to keep stopping like that, no matter what we do to try to do the upkeep for it, then I hope that it's like that, because after a while you get tired of trying to catch your balance, right? So sometimes it takes away from my focus while I'm walking up there, because in the beginning I would be like 20, 30 minutes literally, guys, in before it would decide to do that. It wouldn't always be like within the first like 5 minutes or 7 or 8 minutes, and now it's starting to be sooner and sooner and sooner. So I would just be up there talking to you guys about whatever I was talking about, and then bam, it would stop. And then before, I think I don't know if I used to cut it out, or I believe I would I would stop the video and start it back up when I would get it working again and stuff like that. So there would be some like piecing the stuff together, like creating a movie in that app or whatever. And now I just kind of keep it rolling. And yesterday I was so frustrated. I was like, no, I can't even do that, because yesterday I really thought it was going to be like, nope, we're not walking today at all. So today it did good. I'm happy. But yes, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Let's see, tomorrow's, let me think, Monday. And I'm also thinking, trying to think of the date. Yeah, the 3rd. I'm thinking I might use one of my double days. I am not sure yet. I already have one appointment set up. And if I set my other appointment, I don't know. I think I have enough extra days that I've walked where I can cover that day. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, because I know I've talked about it on and off, but I just realized I might actually have to do that. And then the 4th, I'm happy that I had already designated the day, and I stated, I think, on that video that it was for that specific day. So now I don't have to use my bank days. My bank days aren't marked at all. Those are just my extra days that are on standby, kind of. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know within, I would say, a couple of days. And obviously I would have to, because that will be a couple of days away anyway. So yes, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll have to say for sure, because tomorrow's only the 2nd, right? And then that's right, I would have to let you guys know tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow, because I just realized I have to tell you guys tomorrow if I'm going to, for sure. And then I'll tell you guys, also I have my book up here, and I'll tell you what day I'm going to mark for tomorrow. No, next day. I'm already a day ahead. Sometimes my mind is just already days and weeks and months ahead. I plan so far ahead sometimes. It's just a habit. But you guys know what I meant. So yes, stay safe. And like I said, I wish you peace and happiness, if you can have both. Tranquility, just anything, serenity, anything that calm, just calm. And that it stays that way for a while. I mean, no one wants to be going through something all the time, right? So I just hope that it is like that. And there was, I thought about that, there was like a thing that someone I know told someone else, and I added into it, and this person brings it up sometimes, and it was, don't let anyone disturb your peace. To not let someone take that from you. First, I would have to say, if you already know what it is, you know what it is, right? It's not just, like I said, peace, period. Like no arguing, no fighting, no stuff like that. Like I said, it can be the peace and quiet, the peace of mind, the things that will make you have to worry more and more, be stressed more and more, things like that. When you start looking at your peace as a whole, not just, it doesn't have to be bickering and arguing and fist fighting and stuff like that. It doesn't have to get physical. So to me, I'm trying to learn that peace is also a mental state of mind. It's also like I said, an emotional thing. It's a within thing as well, right? And obviously mentally is within as well. Thoughts are within. And I mentioned the manifestation, like they can come out, yes, right? It depends on what you're thinking. It all depends on what you believe, right? Or if you're just starting to realize, like, wow, I didn't really have to believe it. You ever think of something, especially like for me, I've said something, if I think something bad's gonna happen, it will happen sooner than if I think something's good gonna happen, right? So I'm like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, new car, that's not something that's a want anyway. I mean, because here come the payments. But I'm trying to get myself to not have like the bad thoughts, negative thoughts. And it's so funny because my husband's gonna laugh. It's like, really? You always growl at me when I snap at me when I tell you to be more positive. But it's a within inner peace thing. So you can tell someone as much as you want, but that's what I'm learning, is that no matter how much is said, and people that say they really want it for you, they really, really mean it, you can feel it. But I say for me, I'm personally going to have to pull it in, but I have to be able to have it within and then project it out. And yes, I would, as from heart to thought out, like, right? And so I think I've always been that type of person that doesn't want to disturb someone else's peace. But I've been trying to learn how to balance out and keep and have my own as well. So, like I said, that's a growing process for me. I don't know if anyone agrees with me. I don't know if I sound crazy right now. I don't know if you're thinking, you know what, I get you. I get what you mean. Hopefully you do, more so than I sound crazy or you don't understand what I'm saying. But yeah, that's basically what I am trying to do. I've been watching these different videos and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't know, I get kind of bored, and like I watch different things that I normally wouldn't have watched before, and it's all leading back into just specific things, a thought process, and a way of life, or just I'm realizing everything is leading back to that. And so like being at peace with things. It's a little different to me sometimes. I don't know how to explain this, but I'll say this and I'll go. But it's a little different than just, oh, well, it's out of your control anyway, so, I mean, why are you worried about it type thing. No. If you know what I mean, there's more to it than that. I won't say it's not that simple, because it probably is. But to me, there's a piece of it that I need to, in order to even be able to do that. Even, you know, if I were to think about, like, how long do I think I'm going to live, or anything like that, you know, to that depth, right? That deep of a thought. But I think just in an everyday sense, because I have said before, I mean, if you wake up, then you just kind of deal with the day, right? You wake up again, you do the same thing again. Right. So I think, like I said, I'm trying to pull in the fact that I've learned about trying to stay stable and balanced, and to make that a mental and emotional thing as well. And then trying to have peace. And it's not just physically, you know, like I said, I'm not confrontational fist wise anyways, right? Arguing wise, yelling, but mentally, emotionally, and then just trying to bring in those things. And I always talk about like being a complete self. And so I think that's that balance and that stability, and then the focus. I've always talked about being focused. I haven't talked about that in a while, just be able to stay focused on things. And I think at some point, I think I probably lost sight that should be one of my main focuses. That I can't lose me. So I give that message out to everyone else: don't lose yourself. And don't let anyone take your peace. All right, well, with that said, I am going to go. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I will let you guys know. And then, unless I think I'm going to like seriously forget, I will have the notebook up here to remind me at least of that. If I don't have any other things written on the notebook up there, like about a talk or whatever, maybe I'll go a little bit more into this tomorrow. I don't know. It's time. Because like I said, what did I say? I'm getting too old for this SHIT, right? So I'm realizing, like, I already knew there didn't need to be the SHIT, but I'm really getting to the point where it's like away from me, right? If you probably understand what I'm saying, like, if you some of you might actually get me, like, I totally understand what she's saying. No more. The no. My husband says that no is the most powerful word in the English language, and I would say no matter what language you say it in, no is powerful. Being able to say no, and then you have to not care what comes back, because it'll be the guilt trip, it'll be the it's your fault, it'll be the anger, it'll be, oh no, the sadness, like, so that you feel guilty, right? And so I think I'm learning to try to get past that as well. Especially when there's so many things you'll tell yourself no to already, right? That the limitations you put within yourself, the self-control, and then the other no things, right? There's some things where it's like, well, why not? So the limits the good limits and the bad limits. Sometimes there's some bad ones, sometimes there's some good ones. That's the self-control part, right? But I think if you would tell yourself no, then most likely you probably would have told someone else that too as well. So don't feel bad. Just, that's the thing. But yeah, that has seemed to be my message all this week, right? I think at some point I've talked about that, and what some people will say and do. And if they can get you to feel guilty enough, the rest is easy for them. So just block yourself, guard yourself, find your inner peace. Try to have your calmness, and love yourself as much as you love everyone else, and just do as much for yourself as you would do for anyone else. And then try to have that stability and that balance. And if you don't go up, don't go down. Just try to stay stable until, you know, you can make things even better than what they are. And I would say strive for greatness. And after a while, it's a little easier depending on what it is. Some things take some work, okay? So there's always gonna be something that takes some type of hard work. And it might even weigh on you mentally and emotionally, but I think that lends on the word of sacrifice kind of, right? There are some things that you will have to sacrifice to have like a better and progress forward. And there's some things that you shouldn't sacrifice. And I think that's where it comes into your peace, your balance and stuff like that, right? Because you need to be able to focus on the moving forward part, the part of your life, that journey part of your life. So, yeah, they're learning not to let people convince you to sacrifice certain things, because then you won't try as hard. I can tell you that personally. I'm telling you personally myself, speaking from experience, you won't. And then after a while, it won't even bother you anymore. And then the worst part about it is when you realize that it should, and you could have been in a better place. And when it's mentally and emotionally on top of physically, for me personally, it was just like, whoa. It was like I took a big step back. And so that's how it's a day-by-day process, but that's where I'm at. And I would have to say, I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, you know, you're, even here in the neighborhood, like I remember years, like 4 or 5 years ago, they were telling me like, you're different. Like, than when I met you, like you're stronger than when I met you. Like they tell me it actually shows. And it surprises me when I hear it. And I'm like, different, I'm me, like I look the same, you know, I either gain weight or lose weight or whatever, but, it shows. Other people see it and they feel it, and then you're just like, oh wow. Like I know, I'll tell you this last thing I was thinking, I went into Walmart. Okay, so this was like some years and years ago. I think actually when we first moved here was like more like 8 years ago. So about, let's call it six to seven, right? And so this random lady, I did not know her at all. And so I walked into Walmart, I had my basket, I was pushing it, and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, it caught me off guard, right? And so I looked at her and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm fine. And she was like, oh, okay. And then the next time that happens, the person asked me, am I okay? And I was like, I think my answer was like, I'm getting there. I'm kind of okay, but mainly no right now. I'm trying to get back to being okay. And I asked her, does it show? And she said, yes. And I said, you can see, I said, people tell my facial expressions give me weight all the time. But I really think it was more than just my facial expression. I think she could feel it, like that energy, right? And so I said, wow. When she said yes, it kind of took me back a bit. I didn't know it showed, because I've always been told, like my husband makes that joke that I have that unapproachable face, like that I make when I'm walking around. And I'm like, what? You know how many people just randomly talk to me like if I'm in line, or if I'm sitting there waiting for my car oil to be changed or whatever. You know, I tell him these stories all the time, and he tells me, he was like, yeah, but he says me and someone else that we know walk around with that look on our face like we're unapproachable. And I'm like, hey, you know, he's like, you do. And I'm like, nuh-uh. But that day something else was going on, and she totally saw it, and I think she felt it too. And that's the thing I'm trying not to do, right? But I don't want that to be affected as well. Like, I don't want me to be affected that way as well too. So you just kind of like learn who you surround yourself with, and then how to surround yourself with you, right? In your inner peace, and then how to kind of just like look at everything else. It's not, and I'm not talking about having an opinion or a thought, just your outlook on everything kind of starts to change your perspective, you know, without thinking that someone should or shouldn't be doing something. You just look at things a little differently, right? Before you would even say or think anything about that person's situation. So, yeah, I'm growing so much. It's crazy. But it's good growth. I need it. Yeah. Definitely am in a better place than what I was, especially mentally. So I think emotionally. So I'm happy about that. I don't care how much I complain up here and gripe and stuff like that. Really, trust me, it was worse before. Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.